Am I the asshole for telling my ex to give me her house or go homeless? Throwaway account. And #X200B. I, 36 male, have one child, Melissa, 14 female, with my ex, Jane, 39 female. We were together for about a year when she got pregnant and expected me to marry her because of it. While I did agree that it would be best for us to move in together, I never said that I would marry her, and she didn't tell me that she expected me to propose until her final month of pregnancy, and she yelled at me for not proposing sooner. Due to the lack of communication and mass assumptions, I set the record straight and said that I wouldn't marry a woman that I've only known for less than 2 years just because she was having my baby. Cue the flying monkeys that were her parents, friends, etc., saying that I needed to take responsibility and make an honest woman out of her. I countered that if getting married, especially before the baby was born, was so important to her, then she should have picked a different guy. I also pointed out that I was taking responsibility when I moved in, agreed to pay all the bills because Jane didn't want to work while pregnant, attended the majority of doctor's appointments, all the birthing classes, and built the nursery. Jane was so mad that she stormed out and didn't speak to me until after she'd given birth. That ticked me off, and I demanded a DNA test before signing the BC, and she was so bitter that I wouldn't marry her. By the time Melissa was 5, I had already taken Jane to court 7 times about custody and visitation. Things got slightly better after Jane started dating again because I would nonchalantly imply that she was still in love with me, and her boyfriend didn't respond well to that. She backed off and wouldn't fight me on my scheduled time. Eventually the guy gave her a ring, but by then Melissa was enough to be vocal about wanting to spend time with me. While I am glad that Jane found a new guy, this man wasn't exactly a prize and always wanted something for nothing. He wanted to be his own man, and own a business, and that inherently wasn't bad, but he was just bad at it. When the bank wouldn't give him a loan for his next business venture, he convinced Jane to take a mortgage on her house, and it failed. Jane called me claiming to need more money for our daughter expenses, and when I asked her for a detailed report, she got upset and tried to guilt-trip me. She said that she would take me to court, but since she'd already gotten an increase 3 months ago, I knew it would get denied. That's when Jane confessed to me about the mortgage and that if I didn't help, Melissa would lose her home. I countered saying that so long as I had a roof, Melissa would never be homeless. Cue the flying monkeys again. Then I told her that I would help with the loan payments after she signed over the house to me. I made this offer knowing that she wouldn't accept it, but prepared to do it, because I can say that I tried to help, and so that our daughter won't be in danger of losing her home because of her mom's stupid choices again. Am I the asshole? ETA. Because of word count, I didn't initially put this in, but just to be clear. 1. My ex made dumb choices and wants me to bail her out without getting anything in return just because I can, and resent her for trying to use our daughter. 2. As stated in the post, my daughter can just live with me if her mom loses the house. I would never leave my own child homeless. Have no idea where you got that. 3. Yes, the house would be completely in my name and I would sign it over to my daughter once the mortgage is paid off and she's of age. This is being done so her mom can't ransom the house anymore. 4. Yes, technically my ex would become my tenant if she agreed, and I would also make her sign an agreement or evict her. 5. After years of manipulation, intentional harm, and scheming, I am indifferent to the idea of my ex suffering. 6. Me saying that she still had feelings for me was, admittedly, a tactic to get her boyfriend turned husband to get her to back off because of the constant hassle she gave me just to spend time with my daughter and maintain my legal rights as a parent. Going through the courts is expensive and takes up a lot of time. This was not about ego. Not the asshole. Who the fuck expects their ex to pay help out financially beyond the child money? You have a house, Melissa is 14, she can easily decide that she wants to live with you. Your child won't be homeless. If your ex wants to take Melissa to live on the streets, I suppose it's pretty easy to get the court to force Melissa to stay with you. You don't need to help her, they can move out, get a job each and pay a normal rent. Regarding your offer, not the asshole, you're asking for collateral for the loan, which is reasonable and smart to protect yourself. At the end of the day, you're right that your daughter will not be homeless over this, and her request is over the top ridiculous. That whole divorce, custody situation sounds like a nightmare for your daughter with both of your petty squabbling. Not the asshole. Her mortgage isn't remotely your problem. You seem to be caring for and looking out for your kid, that's all that you need to do here. Poor Melissa. Not the asshole. You need to look after yourself and your daughter, not every other muppet on the planet. I'd use this to go for full custody of your daughter. She's clearly no longer in a stable home. Not the asshole. While the situation could have been handled better, you did all right in the end. Though if I were you, this is a perfect time to get full custody of your daughter and get rid of the child support payments. Judges look down on being homeless when the other parent has a roof over their head and can take care of the child. Is it underhanded? Yes, but sad to say, if you live in the USA, you'll need to be underhanded if you want full custody of your daughter from the mother. Your responsibility is to your daughter. Not to the mother, not to her family, but to your daughter. Everyone sucks here, I think. I don't know if there's a better way through this mortgage situation, and it seems like it would have happened with or without you. Nonchalantly imply she was still in love with me. Lol, what? Not the asshole. Although cold, I see you as a reasonable and responsible man. But here you will see people who will judge you for not following perfectly the manual of diplomatic, complacent behavior. But everything you have done is the most logical thing to do. Am I the asshole for pressing my fiancé to get his sister's stuff out of my house? His sister lived with us for a while, with us in my mom's house. But she couldn't follow house rules and she made it hell. She was a hoarder and violated too many boundaries. It strained our relationship and I ended up severely depressed and developed PTSD. She lived with us for 7 months and finally moved out March 2021. But when she did, she left her entire room behind save one bag and carry-on when she moved out of state. Fast forward to today, September 20, 2021, and her room is in the same condition. I had been proactive about self-improvement and focusing on what I can control, so I've been cleaning up the house and becoming more minimalistic, among other things like therapy, my physical health and other aspects of my life. I didn't feel comfortable touching her things because she still wanted some of them, I think. But it reminded me of that traumatic and painful period in my life. I wanted to start fresh and move on without her presence lingering in my home. I had discussed it with my fiancé and he and his family talked about it and they said they'd handle it. She's not here anymore, so there's no reason for her stuff to be here either. They'd ship off what she wanted and get rid of what she didn't. They left me out of the loop, of course. They often do this even if it directly affects me. But that was the agreement. Well, 6 months after she's been gone, nothing has changed. No, thank you for putting up with their shit. No, sorry. No compensation for taking up an entire room in my house. And no effort to do anything about it on their part. And I know they have the money to do it because they all got big fat life insurance payouts last year, and the sibling she went to live with just bought a gigantic brand new house. It's not an issue of money. I finally put my foot down and said it needs to be gone by end of month or else I'm tossing it out. Clearly it wasn't important enough if half a year has passed. Time to toss it out. I want to enter the holiday season clear of a lot of old trauma and baggage. Now my fiancé is mad and he yelled at me saying I'm not patient enough and that I'm overreacting. That's almost always his go-to whenever I bring up any concerns. He always minimizes it or tries to brush me off as being overly emotional. His reason as to why it hasn't been done is because he's lazy. This is despite him criticizing me every day about how dirty our house is. The same guy who eats food and leaves dirty dishes around. The same guy who leaves wrappers and scrunched up paper balls everywhere. The same guy who leaves his dirty socks all over the house. The same guy who says he doesn't care about putting in effort anymore because he's with me. He wants to break up now because I'm overreacting, when I have been patiently waiting for half a fucking year. He's quick enough to drop everything and immediately help his family. But for me, he'll put it off as long as possible. He'd rather break up than do what he said he would do half a year ago. Edit. Thanks for all the replies already. You guys are putting me at ease because I wasn't sure if I really was overreacting or not. Thanks for all the empathy and understanding. I really needed it right now. Edit 2. I didn't expect this to get so much attention. I'm honestly overwhelmed at this point and I've barely slept since posting this. I will no longer be replying to this thread, but thanks everyone, even the naysayers, for replying. Big thanks to the commenters who are giving me some real advice. I needed it. Not the asshole. Don't marry this guy. In fact, take him up on his offer to break up. Tell him to take his sister's shit when he goes, or leave it when you go. Not the asshole, but you have a bigger problem than stuff in your house. I hope you read what you wrote when talking about your fiancé and how he treats you. Your fiancé needs to be your ex-fiancé if he continues to disrespect you and put you down. Why be with someone who rather break up than do what he promises? Perhaps breaking up would be for the best? Kick both him and his sister's crap out of your house. Because, it sure seems like your problem is him and his family. Is this the life you want to grow old with? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You've been more than patient. If your post is accurate, why are you marrying a slob who shouts at you and puts you below his family? Oh, honey, when you go Marie Kondo on his sister's room, make sure he's in the discard pile. Not the asshole. You spelled X wrong. Leave him. He has no respect for you or your mother's house. Not the asshole, but do not marry this man. Get him, and his sister's junk out of your mom's house. I know that dating with mental illness is very hard and you feel like you don't deserve normal, but you do. You deserve much, much better than this. His reason as to why it hasn't been done is because he's lazy. No, the reason he hasn't done it is because he's tall. He wants to break up now because I'm overreacting, when I have been patiently waiting for half a fucking year. Let him, he's doing you a favor lol. Not the asshole. Update. Am I the asshole for calling my sil selfish after she made things personal? I'm RLLY emotional right now, so I'm just going to get right to it. I know people aren't asking for an update, but I wanted to share. After I made my post, I read through all your comments and I realized that I was indeed the asshole. I recognize this, however I can't deny that what my sil said hurt bad. It bothered me a lot. I even took a day off, which I have never done in my life, because I didn't have it in me to get up. My whole world shattered and I know now it is my fault. The morning of the 17th, after my brother dropped off my boys, they came into my room and told me they had to show me something. My boys are RLLY musically talented and turns out they made a video of them playing a song for me. I burst into happy tears. My birthday is today actually, and they planned on showing it to me today, but were aware that I was upset, and apparently my brother found out I stayed home from work and they all decided to show it to me earlier. I don't think you all understand how I feel. I've always been so insecure, and like many of you mentioned, I have always been jealous of how well Alice connected with my boys and thought I couldn't compare to her. And after what she said, I felt much worse. But I know that I have nothing to be jealous or insecure about. Yes, my boys adore my brother and his wife, but I'm their mother and they love me too. They reassured me on it and I told them that I loved them the most in the entire world, and we basically had a heart-to-heart. I even called Alice and we both apologized. She said that she was upset because one of my boys had been upset about how I wasn't at one of his recitals, and instead of making an effort to be more involved in their lives, I just complained. And I admit, I always thought that making money for my boys was the most important thing. That if I work overtime and miss a few concerts, it was fine. That they'll appreciate it in the long run. I know that it's wrong, and although it's a hard mindset to change, I'm planning on making a few changes to my work schedule so that I have more free time. Not now, as I'm currently saving up to get a new place in a more secure area, but in a few weeks. I told this to my sons and got their reactions. I've never felt happier. Like many of you also mentioned, I'm pretty freaking lucky. I have the most supportive and loving family and the best sons I could have ever asked for. I can only hope to be as wonderful as them. I know I sound emotional, but I've spent a lot of time with my boys these few days and I'm so overjoyed. I'm crying typing this because of how happy I am. I hope this encourages fellow parents to spend time with your kids, because there is nothing quite like it. Thank you for the judgment and support. Edit. I'm sorry for using N instead of other variations in my last post. I know it's bothersome, but I wasn't in the right mind and wasn't RLLY thinking about my overuse of N. Also saw someone say something about the chances of people in the same family having multiples. It's rare, but it happens. My family has a lot of history with multiple kids, twins usually though. I don't know why or the science behind it, but it's not that crazy of a thing. I'm confused why this wasn't an S. What Sil said was super mean too. Glad it worked out, but I hope you guys build better boundaries about not saying awful things to each other. Opening square bracket. Hey, another update post with a happy ending. Hope everything goes well for you and your family. I really hope Alice apologized for saying your boys wished she was their mom. That was out of line. OMG, but after reading that I can't believe you didn't get more NTAS or ESHS. Alice was absolutely out of line. We love a happy ending. I still think Alice was out of line for her comments, but that's neither here nor there. I hope it all works out for you two hearts. I am really happy it's worked out like this for you heart. I didn't see your original post, but I have some advice that I received from my boss once, and I think it really applies here. With regards to work-life balance. The rule of 5. Look at that project you are doing at work, and the consequences of staying home and missing a recital, football game, play date. Will that work project matter in 5 days? Will it matter in 5 months? Will it matter in 5 years? It helps gauge how important things are sometimes. Especially if you flip it back as well, when it comes to missing certain things. Am I the asshole for insisting my brother's girlfriend proves she's pregnant or she has to move out? My F20 brother, 24, has been on and off with his girlfriend, 27, for a couple of years now. It's been the same song and dance. They're happy for a few weeks, then something small happens, they argue, it gets really nasty, and they make up and back to a loving couple. When I learned my brother got kicked out of his apartment and needed a place to stay, I offered him the extra room in my apartment, and my brother agreed to pay rent, help with bills, and pitch in with food. For 3 months now, she's been announcing she's pregnant. She alone will eat a snack box with 50 small bags of chips in a week. I tried to reason with her and get her to cut back, not only from overeating, but she was running us low on food. But she insists she and the baby are healthy and it's just cravings, blah blah blah. Since last month, most of what my parents sends to my house. My mom is a couponer, so she bulk shops and give away what she has too much of. My brother's girlfriend is the first to get into it, and a large portion of it is gone by a few days to a week. From a 24 case of Monster, the energy drink, if you're not familiar, 8 will be gone in a week from just her. She eats a hell of a lot of food too, most of which no pregnant woman should be consuming so much of, and yes, I know all pregnancies are different, but words can't explain how much she eats in one sitting. So, today I had seen her drinking coffee, and after her second cup I asked her if she should be drinking so much, and she said her doctor told her it was fine and she had no worries. When I suggested she take on a healthier diet for the baby, she just scoffed and walked out. I went and asked my brother if he's been to any of her doctor appointments or even seen a positive pregnancy test, and he said he didn't. I confronted her about it and she said she didn't have to prove anything and started to get defensive. I told her she needed to show a test or some proof of going to the doctor, or she needs to move out as she doesn't help at all. My brother started defending her and changed his answer from not seeing any proof to seeing her pregnancy test. My parents got word of what I said, and my mom says I was in no place to say anything, and every woman's body is different and I wouldn't know since I've never been pregnant. Am I the asshole? Edit. I did talk to her a while ago about getting a job as well as helping out financially, and she said she'd start and never has. Right, so based on majority of the comments I overstepped, yes, but I'm going to go with my gut on this one and give them their 30 days notice and call it a day. I'll for sure update you guys in a month, when they're to be gone, and let you all, who's interested, know what's happened by then. I keep repeating myself, let me add my brother knows everything I've said, the excessive caffeine, no ultrasound, etc. Yes, my brother still buys her tampons monthly, and I know this because he goes with me when I buy mine. No, I was not faking concern by the coffee comment. She drinks 2 cups of coffee a day along with a Monster, that's a ton of caffeine. Kinda not the asshole. Asking for proof is extreme, but she's also eating you out of house and home. Even if she is actually pregnant, she probably needs to find a place of her own and get herself her own food. Do you really want a family of 3 living with you, when the mom and dad have a shit show of a relationship? Spoiler alert, you do not. Not the asshole, and if your mother is so concerned, maybe she should house your brother and his girlfriend. Not the asshole since she is not contributing and is taking advantage, but I wouldn't make it a condition. I would simply tell them they need to find different accommodations or she needs to contribute. Side note. Energy drinks while pregnant are not safe or healthy. 2 cups of coffee isn't bad. Not the asshole. Normally I'd say it's none of your business. But she's living in your home and eating your food. She can't claim it's pregnancy cravings, etc. if she doesn't want to prove she's pregnant. Not the asshole, but rather than focus on her overeating and selfishness, I would just tell everyone that you don't have room or the budget to house 3 people. You can also give your mom a heartfelt thanks for offering to assist your brother and his girlfriend with housing and food, seeing as she understands pregnancy and will be a much better source of help. Not the asshole. You shouldn't make her value up on the fact that she's pregnant or not. Kick her out anyway. Coffee, like 1 or 2 cups per day, isn't a problem in pregnancy. But she shouldn't drink Monster when pregnant, and absolutely not a can per day. Monster contains tons of caffeine. And cravings or not, she shouldn't eat crap food all day long. I bet she isn't pregnant. But kick her out anyway, she isn't a better person just because she's pregnant. Not the asshole. Although I can't help feeling you have overcomplicated this with the whole pregnancy thing. I would have gone with the simpler, pay your way or get out. Not the asshole. Something's fishy about both of their behaviors. I feel like they're milking you until they know they can't anymore. I.e., after a few more months it's going to be obvious that she's not pregnant. If she actually is pregnant, do they really expect you to keep supporting them?